got it going. Yeah. So we're gonna get some damage off of the blue rock. Clean it off with some cleaner. Get it nice and dry. Always shake the can up really good. Really good, especially on the gray velvet. You really need to get that paint mixed up really good together so it doesn't come out so dark. Really shake it up good. Then I'd like to do is test the nozzle in the air to make sure we're getting a nice good flow. At least 14 inches back, don't try to put too much paint on at once. Very, very small burst. Just get a little bit on each side. Just a bit at a time, guys. Okay, we're going to let that dry for a little bit. Then we're going to come back and we're going to put some more on. You let that dry a bit, but when you're not using the paint can, turn it upside down and clear all of the paint out of the nozzle. That way it doesn't send splatters. We'll let that dry for about 10 minutes and we're going to do the whole process over again. Well, then I try to just sand the scratch only, just to get the rough edges off. Try not to over sand out of the box here. Try to get the scratch only. Just to get that rough edge off. Fingerprints and everything off of it. And again, we are going to shake our can up really good. We're going to do a practice run to make sure we got a nice flow. 14 inches back. Nice. It's a nice light coat to start. We go back to the second coat on our first piece. Back to our first piece. Dry it out a bit. We're going to throw some more. So again, we're going to do a couple practice runs. Just a nice light coat, guys. Let her sit again. We'll let that dry out a bit. Clear the can. Clear the nozzle. Always, you don't want it to splatter. If you look here, sometimes you're going to get a little splatter from a dirty. You can see the splatter here. If that's the case, you might want to wipe it off and do it again until you keep going until you get a nice layer on. I'll try again after this. We should be able to cover that splatter with our next layer. Round two. nice and soft, nice and easy. That's good. Don't put any more on. You can see the bit of splatter on there, but not too bad. Once it dries out, it should blend in. We go back to number 1 again here. Notice that I'm always shaking the can. Keep that paint flow. Keep it all nice and mixed up. Do my practice again. Back about 10 to 12 inches. 12 to 14 inches back. Just nice, easy flow. Stop. Good enough. Let it dry. You can see that's what happens when you start to get a tiny bit of splatter. That should be okay. Should dry out. Clear the can. So the paint stops coming out. And you can see that the tip is clear. You don't want paint built up in that tip, or you have to throw away the can of paint or get a new tip. Now we're going to go for round 3. Extra shake up my can a little bit here. Do my little practice. We got a nice stop there. See the splatter came out. Look at that. Sometimes you might just want to take the rag and try to clean that off. I'm liking it. I wouldn't go any further than that. Clear the can till the paint stops coming out. Wipe off the tip. I wouldn't be too concerned about that little splatter. I'd just let this dry and I would leave it as is right now. Because when you actually have this window in the house, me standing up like this, it's fairly visible. Try not to put too much paint on. The more paint you put on, the darker it's going to not match the rest of the paint.